The Detroit Pistons enter the 2023 season with high hopes. The future is very bright with the talented young core, with Cade Cunningham leading the pack. He and potential Rookie of the Year Jayden Ivy could become one of the most electric backcourts. Saddiq Bey is a capable scorer, and the Orlando Magic know all about him. Isaiah Stewart, aka Beef Stew, seems to be part of the young core. He brings physicality and a hard-nosed blue-collar mentality. Detroit is hopeful that he'll become a capable shooter. He showed flashes shooting off movement in Summer League. But their recent move to acquire Bojan Bogdanovic suggests that they are trying to compete right now. Yes, their future is bright, but this is a win-now move. The Pistons won't be intentionally entering their hat in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. They look to compete right now in a deep Eastern Conference. The move to acquire the aging sharpshooter gives the Pistons a veteran presence in the locker room, and he immediately steps in as the team's best shooter. Detroit shot 33% from deep as a team according to Cleaning the Glass. That was good for 29th out of 30 teams. Opponents just dared Pistons non-shooters to take shots from the perimeter. They were more willing to leave their man to clog the lane. This led to difficult situations for future superstar Cade Cunningham to navigate. Some of Cade's shooting woes can be attributed to the poor spacing around him. Tougher shots in tight spaces were heavy in Cade's shot diet due to the lack of spacing. Saddiq Bey is one of the Pistons' good shooters, and he has the potential to be a great shooter, but he can still be very streaky at times. When Bey is in rhythm and has it going, he can knock down shots from all over the floor. Just check out his 50-point game versus the Orlando Magic. And he shot 38% on 5.5 catch-and-shoot three-point attempts last year. That definitely garnered respect from opposing coaches. They actually closed out on him. He was touted as a 3-and-D prospect coming out of Villanova, but he wasn't too much of a positive defender last season. But young players don't always lock in defensively when they're on bad teams. But with Detroit headed into compete mode, we'll see what type of defender Bey truly is this year. But Bojan definitely helps with the spacing issues. He's a sniper defenses can't leave. He's a career 39% three-point shooter, and he provides the same value as he shot 38% on catch-and-shoot threes last year. With Bogdanovic and Bey on the wings, and Alec Burks and Isaiah Livers coming off the bench, Cade should have a lot more room to operate. Detroit has a lot of options at the 5. They could go with the big body, ground-bound potential shooting Beef Stew. Stewart is an undersized center, but the toughness and physicality he brings is undeniable. Those are intimidating qualities, and opponents only shot 51% when Stewart was defending the rim. Detroit could also go with the rookie Jalen Duren. He's kind of undersized for a center too, only standing at 6'10", but he'll be a valuable lob there with his 7'5" wingspan and ultra-athletic frame. If Detroit wants to go small ball, Marvin Bagley is another lob threat Cade will have at his disposal. The former number 2 pick has played some of the best ball of his young career next to Cade. They've connected on countless lobs and seem to be a seamless fit. They grabbed Nerlens Noel this offseason as well. On paper, he should be their best rim protector, and he says he wants to get back into the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. We'll see if the minutes are there for him, depending on how the Pistons play their young core. Hamid Diallo was a fan favorite, and rightfully so. He's a high-flying wing, not really a traditional lob threat, but he can definitely go get it. He had great spurts for the Pistons last year when he was able to spread his wings. He started 24 straight games and averaged 14 points per game on 49% shooting from the field. He's not a great shooter from deep or a heads-up type of passer, but he's a nice slasher and he can get buckets when needed. Secondary creator and potential Rookie of the Year Jayden Ivy can help take pressure off Cade Cunningham. Cade saw plenty of double teams last year as the team's primary ball handler. But if teams try that same philosophy with Ivy in the lineup, he'll exploit closeouts. But even if teams aren't fully respecting his improving jump shot, he still enters the league having one of the quickest first steps, and he's a blur in the open floor. But that improving range from deep is a real thing. He shot 35% during his sophomore campaign, a 10% increase from his freshman year. I'm pretty confident he'll continue to grow as a long-range shooter, but his in-between game needs work. Due to the fear of his game-breaking speed, the mid-range shot will always be there for him. The game as a whole will become much easier for him when he perfects this shot. His shooting out of the pick and roll is also something we should keep our eyes on. It's time to accept Killian Hayes for what he is. I don't see him ever living up to the lottery pick he was supposed to be, but he can be a quality role player for this squad. With a strong enough handle and good on-ball defense, he can fit as a backup point guard. I've even seen some media members that I truly respect call for him to be the starting shooting guard this season. I'm not there with Killian, but I also disagree with the portion of Pistons fans that want him off the roster. Catch and shooting is his biggest swing skill by far. To fit alongside Cade, the spot-up shooting just has to be there, and Killian hasn't done that throughout his career so far. He shot 29% on catch and shoot threes last year, and he's just a career 27% three-point shooter. I think he'll be a capable driver at his best, but not close to dynamic enough to run your offense. A secondary role off the bench suits his game. That's currently his NBA trajectory, and there's nothing wrong with that. He can still be an impact player on a championship team with defense and secondary creation. But everything I just mentioned comes down to one man. Detroit made a huge mistake back in 2003 picking Darko over Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and most notably Carmelo Anthony. They missed out on having their first MVP caliber player since Isaiah Thomas, or you could argue Grant Hill. Not this time though. The Pistons finally have one of those guys in Cade Cunningham. And what's not to love about him? He's a 6'6" do-it-all point guard with a very mature game. Cade plays at his own pace. There's nothing a defense can do to speed him up. He uses his body well to get small guards off of him, and his craft shines versus slow-footed forwards teams put on him due to his size. His pivot game is one of the most beautiful things to watch. He can go either way, stop on a dime and get defenders in the air. That's a great tool to have this early in his career, and that part of his game will only sharpen over time. His teammates and coaching staff raved about his leadership qualities at only 21 years old. Cade has that thing inside him that can't be taught. When he lines up versus other stars, that brings the best out of him. Check out some of these buckets against the Nets. They came in a loss, but he was matching a great Kevin Durant bucket for bucket. Or this big-time game versus the Mavericks. Pickpocketing Luka and going right at him at the other end. He isn't the most athletic guard in the league, but he definitely competes defensively. He projects to be one of the best playmakers in the league at his peak. With a versatile scoring arsenal, nice touch, and elite vision, Cade could take the league by storm as the next big point guard.